What's up, you guys? Besides loving my Atari 2600, I also love my PS2. I keep it right here, and this one I always keep out. It's not taking too much room. Even when I do haircuts right here, it's there. And I believe in having a good arcade stick so I can play certain games like this. Any vertical or horizontal shooter, I will, for Sega Genesis or PlayStation 1 or 2 or 3, I'm going to use my an arcade stick if possible. And this is GRADIUS 5. And came out in 2005 or 4. I also recommend the PS2 game that you can get called GRADIUS 3 and 4, which gives you GRADIUS 3 and 4 arcade versions. GRADIUS 5, I believe, was in the arcade. Look at those graphics. Video games have been around long enough where you can buy a 17-year-old game and it's still stunning. Look at that planet. Now I love my Atari, and I'm still playing that tonight. I'm going to get back to it. I'm kind of running a 3-ring circus before I go back to work. Now I got a fat PS2 collection. All these rows are full, and more rows. Too much, actually. And then these are all stacks of PlayStation 1, which play on my PS2. Underneath, those are stacks of PS1. And I've sworn off buying any more PS2 games. They don't really have much financial value. And when GameStops were like selling them off at what I thought was cheap, I should have just even waited and bought them later, because now you get a PS2 game for the price of shipping, much like most CDs. I really love PS1 games that have compilations of arcade hits on them, and like that. And oh, you gotta have the almighty Williams Greatest Hits, and that is a special thing because both ports are active at the same time of your controller ports, so you can set up 2 controllers and play Robotron with, dual stick. This you gotta have PlayStation Namcon Collection 4. It's got Assault, and if you get a special PS1 controller called the Pelican, you can play Assault the way you would play it dual stick, like in the arcade. The Pelican controller that I'm talking about, that I play Assault, looks like that. Play that, and the dual stick, it's got a special configuration. You can play Assault and get a nice like dual stick thing going that emulates the arcade well, and I really like that. And this is how I kind of set up I'll have like my chair and my controller. I'll often put my feet right here, and I like how PS2 saves high scores. And a game like GRADIUS 5 here, it's gonna limit your continues and your ships unless you have some code, and I like that. That might make it hard, but it makes it real. And look, it gives you 10 credits, and then after that you're done. And that's my problem with some other things where you have unlimited continues. There's really not much gameplay unless you limit your continues, which I do. On Pandora's Box, I limit my continues. It's just the only way to do it. Let's see, what setup should I get? I guess that, and playing a little bit of GRADIUS 5, and I just felt like playing it out of nowhere. I was playing a lot of Atari today, and I've got my controller configured. You gotta get all those ships in a row, and then you get that power up, and you can spend the power up, as you know, on these attributes at the bottom. I just sped up, but now I have to start over and get more of these orbs. It really rewards you for shooting well, because these orbs, or whatever you want to call them, they allow me to buy. Like, I just bought an extra gun called Multiple. Great graphics. Gonna want more of these. If I can get one more of these orbs, I'm gonna get the laser. See where it says double? But Let's see if they give me one. Yeah. See how it says, oh, let's get past this. Now I activate my activate button. Now I got lasers. This is one of those games that everything's good until you die. You know what I mean? Look at the graphics. PS2 is awesome. I like all my arcade games on my Pandora's box. However, on PS1 and PS2, when you play these arcade compilations, sometimes that controller is just what you needed. Like if you get Tato's hits, it's got frontline, and the PS2 controller allows you to aim your gun in one direction while you're running your man in a different direction, just like the arcade. That's the only way you could play frontline. So when I got my Pandora's box, I actually went ahead and sold some of my PS2 arcade compilations, because you saw how my space situation over there. So I sold Metal Thug. I sold Metal Slug Anthology because they're all on the Pandora's box, and they play just as good on it. However, Pandora's box doesn't save. So there are times where I wonder if I will regret it. Especially since I view my PS2 much like my Atari, where someday I might just, I don't know, just want the games to have them like you do with Atari. And but I could always buy them back. I didn't sell the whole farm. But I mean, you could play Forgotten Worlds on PS2's Capcom collection, and you're going to be able to fire in one direction and make your man go in another direction. And they have Forgotten Worlds, I think, on Pandora's, but you can't do that. So before you sell your games off, because you found some other thing that's got all your old games on it, make sure that you're making the right decision. Because sometimes your games for PS2 or PS1, the fact that it saves and the controller is making it so you can play it in a better way, like Williams' greatest hits for PS2. Paperboy plays really well with the PS2 controller, and so does Spy Hunter. Spy Hunter plays really well with the PS2 controller, where you shift your gears with the stick and all that. Look how crazy this is on this game while I'm talking. Can I beat this boss before I turn off this video? See, if I think too much, I'm going to die. I was better off just talking and not even paying attention to what I was doing. You got to get into a trance when you play a game like this. You see, I just died. Well, anyway, I'm going to pause it, and I'll continue my game. This was a long video, but just, yeah, I love my PS2, and I think it's going to be like my Atari later, where it's just something that I'll always have, and I'll always need my PS2 working. If it breaks, I'll buy another, and maybe it'll be like that later, where people are starting to see Ataris are breaking more and more. They're starting to cost more. There's still plenty, but same thing with PS2. You get that disc read era, and so if you're a PS fan like me, I highly recommend a second PS2 as backup. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this game. Thanks. Have a good night.